and everything is protected.
The crew now, another live view of them inside Orion. Jeremy, Christina, and Reid and Victor on the right side of your screen. What do you think they're thinking right now, Nicole?
Oh man, just over an hour to launch. You know, there's probably a little bit of a lull right now, monitoring some systems, but you can see Reid's got his feet crossed. So I think just trying to relax and, you know, pass the time by maybe thinking through the items that they're going to monitor through the launch, you know, the different jobs that each of them have throughout the launch. And once they get to orbit, you know, this first day on orbit is really busy for them. They've got, you know, 2 burns that they have to monitor. They've got to get the system set up, and they've got to get the cabin set up. So there's a lot going on in the next 24 hours for this crew. I think they've got a couple sections where they get to take a nap, but I don't think they get a full night's rest for quite some time. So,
yeah,
you know, going through what's next.
And so as we say that, I mean, imagine what it would be like to live in a spacecraft for 10 days. Let's take a look at what life will be like in Orion.
Artemis II is our first crewed mission back to the moon since the Apollo program. A lot of the focus of Artemis II is really checking out systems to be sure that we're ready and well positioned for continued human exploration. My name is Susan Baggerman, and I'm the Chief Health and Performance Officer for the Orion program and the Artemis II mission. And this is 10 Days in Orion. For this mission, the crew will launch in the Orion spacecraft on top of the Space Launch System rocket, or the SLS rocket. Once they've launched and achieved orbit, they'll continue on checking out many of the different critical Orion systems, check out some of the critical medical systems, and be sure that we understand how the crew would do that successfully within the volume of Orion. We also have, of course, systems to feed the crew. They have a potable water dispenser that they'll check out. And then we also have a food warmer, kind of looks like a suitcase that the crew can use to heat their food. They're also going to check out the flight wheel system. We'll have the crew perform some initial exercises. Part of that is to ensure that the flight wheel is actually working, but part of it is actually to be sure that our environmental control systems are actually working. For sleeping, the crew will sleep in sleeping bags. Some crew members like to be very tightly bound up, and some like to float very free. They'll use the toilet for the first time and be sure and some like to float very free. They'll use the toilet for the first time and be sure that it's able to flush. While they're on their journey, they'll do some testing that they quickly don their suit just to be sure that we would be ready in the future for an emergency. They'll also check out our radiation shelter. If we were to have a solar particle event, we would be asking them to take stowage out of the stowage bay and put it in some specific locations on the vehicle, basically for it to serve as shielding.
And so I want to talk a little bit more about what we just heard in that package. I am interested in the space food. So Reid, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy have a pretty big menu to choose from, so that's really cool. We're actually going to pull up a graphic now that kind of shows you some of the food that they're going to have with them on their 10-day journey around the moon. We know of more than 10 types of beverages. There's coffee, a mango peach smoothie, apple cider, lemonade. So those all sound delicious. And now yeah. I just remembered I haven't eaten lunch.
They're actually not too bad. I actually have a mango peach smoothie with me today.
No way.
Yeah. So you can see they come in these little packets here, but it's just kind of a dried powder that you add water to. So this would actually, you'd add 175 milliliters of water and let it sit for 2 to 5 minutes, and then you can stick a straw in it. You saw in that package they put a straw on the top septum portion there, and then you can drink it.
And so this is the packaging. This is food that you brought up with you, or that you had while you were at the ISS.
Yes, yeah. Actually, this is all food that we have available to us on the standard, what we call the standard menu on the space station. And so, actually, the graphic there showed quite a bit of the standard menu that they're going to take with them. So,
yeah, let's pull
space
it back
food
up,
is space
actually.
food. Yeah, we can use the food that we have been using. You know, our food lab at Johnson Space Center actually creates that food, and then they stabilize it and they package it for us and everything. So they do a really wonderful job out there. We've got different types of food. You know, you can see I've got this is a soup, tomato basil soup. So thermal stabilized. It's already hydrated, so you just throw it in that food warmer that we talked about, and then you can eat it. But then we also I have some shrimp cocktail here that's you know, irradiated, so it's in a package that protects it. I'll show you. I've got a brownie too. That's probably my favorite one. But
are we eating it?
We might, if you're.
Yes. Look,
So-
see, they want us to eat. I don't know what happened, but it worked out.
Yeah.
With what we were saying here.
So it's in an outer package to help protect it against, you know, radiation, and then it's in this inner package. And so this cosmic brownie, actually the trick, Anne McLean, my crewmate, taught me, the trick is you got to put this in the food warmer and get it nice and warm,
Ooh.
and then you can get it. But so what we do is we just take scissors and you open it up, and then it comes right out. So these brownies are nice because they don't have a ton of crumbs, and so you can actually just eat it pretty easily in space. You know, if you imagine, that would not happen in space.
It
Would not fall. But yeah, so we've got all sorts of things that you can actually eat. The menu's pretty good and pretty diverse on the space station, and then as you saw, pretty diverse for Orion.
Nice. Yeah, that's amazing. And again, here's a look at the crowd that's starting to continue to grow here as we get closer and closer to launch. We are now under an hour from the opening of our 2-hour launch window at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time. And so let's take some questions from social media. We haven't taken some of those for a while. You put that brownie away, Nicole, or I'm going to steal it. Nicole, we have another celebrity who submitted a question. Let's take a look.
Okay.
A quick question for the Artemis crew. What food from Earth would you bring with you into space? And why would it be lasagna? Because that's the greatest food.
Again, not really a question.
Yeah.
Because he was like, it's lasagna.
It's got to be lasagna. You know, there is lasagna on space station, and it wasn't too bad. Probably not my favorite food of all, but yeah, lasagna's not a bad option. It's a high-calorie meal. If you're trying to, you know, carb load for a spacewalk or something, it's a great option.
Yeah, I remember Christina saying that her favorite food on the menu, and actually, she was saying that she was getting in trouble because people kept on saying, you can't eat mac and cheese every day, Christina.
You know, we mentioned the mac and cheese and brisket earlier. Man, I would put those two on a tortilla. That would be great.
That sounds delicious, delicious. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for sending in those questions. For everyone from a 5-year-old that we got a question from to all the way to Roy Woods Jr. there, a comedian. So thank you so much. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the Space Coast of Florida, where we are counting down to liftoff of Artemis II. You see a beautiful aerial shot there of our rocket on the pad. For the first time in more than 50 years, we are sending humans to fly around the moon and back, and we're taking you all of you with us on this next chapter of human spaceflight. I'm NASA's Megan Cruz, and this is NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers. Great to have you here, Nicole.
Yes, this has been a beautiful day. Excited. We're continuing to march towards this launch.
Yeah, and if all goes as planned, this crew could travel farther from Earth than any other humans before them and see parts of the moon no one has ever laid eyes on. How exciting.
Yes. Exciting is an understatement, I think.
That's
true.
true.
We're going to see the far side of the moon for the first time by humans in a long time. It's important.
And as the crowd, again, builds behind us, more activity that you're seeing here at the Kennedy Space Center press site. We also have a ton of people gathering around the world to watch this history-making moment. So let's take a look at those watch parties now.
Oh.
That crowd has grown. We checked with them probably like 30 minutes ago, and it was half that. But again, as we get closer and closer to launch, we are seeing more and more people gather together, wanting to experience this together and not just in a vacuum at home, you know?
Yes, this is so exciting. Look at all of those people. Man.
And now here we are back in Seattle, the Museum of Flight. Again, people gathered there to show their kid we see someone walking in the second row there. His first crewed launch to the moon. How exciting.
That is exciting.
Hello, everyone.
Woo!
Oh, that's so great. And now let's get you up to speed on what's happened so far. Again, we are now within an hour of the opening of our launch window. So what has been happening so far today? Well, a lot. After waking up and grabbing a bite to eat, our Artemis II crew suited up inside the historic crew quarters, a tradition that dates back decades. Teams helped them into their custom Orion crew survival suits, and just like other crews before them, they gathered around a table for a card game to pass the time, but to also burn off any lingering bad luck before they walked in the footsteps of every NASA astronaut launching from Kennedy Space Center since Apollo 7 in 1968. They walked outside the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Building to greet a crowd of family, friends, supporters before getting into their Astrovan for their security-escorted ride out to historic Launch Complex 39B. They got a close-up look at the SLS rocket, then walked across the crew access arm and climbed one by one inside their Orion spacecraft. After that, teams conducted final checks with the crew before closing both hatches, the crew module hatch, as well as what you're seeing there, the launch abort system hatch. And now we are back live at the pad where the closeout crew is getting ready to leave the White Room. They are now tethered, Nicole, because they are about to move some pieces that connect the Orion spacecraft to the White Room, correct?
Yes, there's kind of what I would call a shroud. You can see them working that there. So it is actually connected, so that way the gap between the crew access arm and the crew module, and well, I guess that's the LAS there, is covered. But they're about to remove that so that the crew access arm is not connected to the rocket in any way, so that it can retract here in the next few minutes.
And for how we're looking with the launch countdown milestones, let's go to Daryl Nail in the Launch Control Center.
All right, thank you very much, Megan. And as you can see there, the finishing touches, as you've been talking about, to the LAS, which brings me to that subject, because we currently are hearing the launch team is working an issue that was reported out with the LAS. At least there's an issue apparently with a battery on the LAS. The engineer who is in charge of the launch abort system sits on console here, reported that a temperature for one of the two LAS batteries is out of range. And although it's not a constraint for launch right now, it would be when that temperature is checked inside of T-minus 6 minutes, which is inside of terminal count. So right now, the team is working some troubleshooting on this issue. Going to follow, of course, along closely with what they learn. But again, a battery temp for one of the two batteries on the LAS is out of spec, and the team is working to understand, first of all, whether or not this may be a sensor issue, or is there an issue with the battery itself. So again, looking into it, troubleshooting and researching as we speak. With regards to the weather, we did get some good news there. Launch Weather Officer Mark Berger reporting to the launch director that the weather chances have now improved for the window. We are up to 90% go, which is great news. Again, 90% go. That is up from the 80% that we started when we had the first weather forecast come out officially 3 days ago. And so that is great. And for anybody who's here in the launch area knows that is certainly viewable. They can see that by just looking up. So we're getting some good clearing as forecast. And then just a reminder for those people who are watching the launch from the nearby area that if you're watching on an internet-enabled device, just remember that there may be a little bit of a delay. Can't tell you how much of a delay, but since it's on an internet device, sometimes this broadcast might be a little behind what you're actually seeing. So just keep that in mind as you are watching. Don't wait to the last second to run outside if you're inside your RV or your camper. or your house. That's the latest here from the firing room. Of course, we'll keep track of that last battery issue. We'll send it back now to Megan and Nicole at the host desk.
Two of them there had to be tethered to the inside of the white room, because obviously now we have detached the white room from the Orion spacecraft.
Yes, that view is quite something.
Yeah, spectacular. Yep. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I forgot. Nicole's scared of heights. An astronaut afraid of heights is actually not uncommon, as we've learned today. But yes, so obviously, again, things proceeding as we march closer to the opening of our 2-hour launch window at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, the closeout crew just finishing up those last couple of things they have to do before leaving the white room and then leaving the pad, leaving only the 4 Artemis II crew members inside the spacecraft by themselves at the pad.
Yeah, and then we'll be curious to follow the battery issue on the LAS as well. Sometimes it's just a sensor issue, sometimes it's a battery issue. So hopefully they figure that out quickly.
Mm-hmm. And so if we can take a shot of the crew inside the capsule, if one's available, why don't we talk a little bit more about each of them? So we have Artemis II Commander Reid Weisman, Baltimore native, and he's actually, you see his feet in that shot there from inside Orion. He's been in space once before as flight engineer for Expedition 41 aboard the International Space Station from May through November 2014. During the 165-day mission, Reid and his crewmates completed more than 300 science experiments in areas like human physiology, medicine, physical science, earth science, as well as astrophysics. They actually set a milestone for station science by completing a record 82 research hours in a single week. He also served as chief of NASA's astronaut office from December 2020 to December 2022. His 2 daughters were out to wave goodbye to him as he made his way to the launch pad. And again, there's Reid's feet. Reid is the one sitting in the seat to the right, closest to our camera there. So looks like he's relaxed by the body language of his feet.
Yeah, I think they're kind of in a holding pattern, if you will, or a waiting period. So it makes sense that he's a little bit relaxed. He's also kind of just a relaxed person in general. He's wicked smart, but has a demeanor that keeps everybody calm. And so I think we're seeing that here today.
And so in this shot, Reid is the one sitting on the left, and to his right, Artemis II pilot Victor Glover. NASA selected the California native as an astronaut in 2013, and at the time he was actually serving as a legislative fellow in the United States Senate. His first trip to space, November 2020, pilot of NASA's SpaceX Crew 1 mission. That was the first operational mission of NASA's Commercial Crew program, which resumed launching American rockets from American soil to the International Space Station since the end of the shuttle program. Victor is a U.S. Navy captain and naval aviator who served as a test pilot, racking up more than 3,500 flight hours in more than 40 different aircraft. So again, he probably feels pretty at home in the pilot seat of Artemis II.
Yeah, I think he does.
He got to say goodbye to his wife and 4 kids. Again, those were the family that he had here at Kennedy Space Center before the 4 of them drove out to the pad.
Yeah, and you can see there, we talked about Victor's energy earlier, and you can see him working through, pushing some buttons on the displays. Looked like he was pulling up a procedure, so he's following along and ready to go, looks like.
And then mission specialist Cristine Koch, sitting on the upper left-hand corner of the screen there, native of Grand Rapids, Michigan, was selected to the astronaut corps in 2013, same class as Victor, served as flight engineer on the International Space Station from March 2019 to February 2020. During that time, she set a record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman with a total of 328 consecutive days in space. How cool. She also participated in the first ever all-female spacewalk. And before becoming an astronaut, Cristine helped build space science instruments and led scientific fieldwork in some of the most remote environments on the planet. Her hobbies include surfing, rock climbing,
and
community
CDR,
service, yoga, and photography.
Go ahead, NCD. Those couple of suppressed overvolt messages, we're going to go ahead and clear those off your screen.
We see them and we copy.
All right.
NASA test director.
We're still working here, trying to get through everything. So we're getting close, and then trying to talk that other issue that we just picked up a little bit ago. But I think work-wise, we're doing really well.
Sounds good, NTD. We're doing great on board.
Glad to hear it.
NASA test director giving an update to the crew. Some messages flashed on their displays. Just wanted to say that they didn't have to worry about that. We're going to clear that. And that also just reassuring the crew, again, that they are tracking and working the issue with the launch abort system battery.
Yeah.
All right. And then first-time flyer, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen will fly to the moon as mission specialist on the Artemis II mission. The London, Ontario native selected as an astronaut in 2009. After that, he worked as Capcom at NASA's Mission Control Center in Houston. Capcom stands for Capsule Communicator and is the sole direct voice communicating with astronauts while in space. Jeremy also participated in training exercises, really cool ones, like living on the ocean floor off the coast of Florida to simulate deep space exploration for a week. In 2017, he became the first Canadian to lead a NASA astronaut class. He also enjoys getting out on a sailboat, rock climbing, and mountain biking. He has a wife and 3 children. And he's the one that you see bottom left-hand corner of your screen. I know, I'm trying to see what he's doing there. Cristina's looking too. And so there is your Artemis II crew inside the Orion spacecraft. And this is actually the 7th time NASA astronauts will launch on a new NASA spacecraft designed for crew. And if you're wondering about the first 6 crewed test flights, here they are.
All systems are go.
Gemini 3, Gus Grissom, John Young, March 23, 1965. Apollo 7, Wally Schirra, Don Isley, Walt Cunningham, October 11, 1968. Space Transportation System, or STS-1, John Young, Robert Crippen, April 12, 1981. Then NASA's SpaceX Demo 2, Doug Hurley, Bob Behnken, May 30th, 2020, followed by NASA's Boeing crew flight tests. Butch Wilmore, Sonny Williams, June 5th, 2024. And now, Artemis II with Reid, Victor, Cristina, and Jeremy. It is really surprising, honestly, to hear that through all these decades, through all these launches we've had, this is only our 7th new vehicle that we're testing for crew.
Yeah, you know, we have so many different missions that we think about and we talk about, but really 7 vehicles that we've tested and that we're flying. You know, I like to think of spaceflight really as a permanent test, right? We have, you know, hundreds of missions or so. You know, an airplane that gets tested and then flown has thousands of data points. And so really spaceflight is always going to be in the test field. And I think it's important to remember that, especially as we put humans on rockets that we never have before, or for the 7th time we start a new vehicle and a new mission.
Just getting word now that White Room closeouts are complete. And so the closeout crew is preparing to leave the pad.
It's exciting stuff. We are making good time, and the closeout crew is doing really well.
41 minutes, 43 seconds and counting until the opening of our window. And Artemis II is a 10-day mission that will send the 4-person crew on a journey around the moon and back to Earth. It will be a critical step towards future lunar and Mars missions.
We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars. We need to go explore the moon. There's vast regions of unexplored areas with the coldest, darkest places in our solar system. This is a test mission, and when we get off the planet, we might come right back home. We might spend 3 or 4 days around Earth. We might go to the moon. That's where we want to go, but it is a test mission, and we are ready for every scenario as we ride this amazing space launch system and the Orion spacecraft.
But another reason we're going back to the moon is to fulfill NASA's mission, which is to explore the unknown in air and space, to innovate for the benefit of humanity, and to inspire the world through discovery. And when we succeed and when we accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish, that inspiration not only can set up new things to happen, but it also is a reminder in tough times that we're capable of doing great things when we work together.
The thing I love about the moon is that it's not just a beacon for exploration and this platform of possibilities for incredible missions like this, but it has benefits. That's actually why we're racing towards it. Those benefits are really wide in nature. You have everything from innovation, technology development, not only for future missions going deeper into the solar system, but technologies that come back to Earth. You have inspiration, a whole generation of people starting this pipeline of STEM workers and manufacturers and operators that are excited to see what you can do when you work hard and you come together as a team.
When I think about the 4 of us flying around the far side of the moon, seeing that Earth rise, taking images and video and sending them back to you, the feeling that I have inside is hope. We know that Artemis II is not the solution for humanity on planet Earth, but it is a contribution in the positive column. We hope that just for a moment that people will pause and say, wow, it's extraordinary when you look back upon the Earth with over 8 billion people, and you see this concrete example of what humanity can do, this extraordinary thing when we set big goals.
And CDR NTD.
To achieve them.
And so Mission Control Houston will control the flight of Orion after a liftoff here at Kennedy Space Center. Here's Gary Jordan, who's embedded with that team. Gary, you might have to pause because we did just hear a call out to the commander in Orion.
Will do, Megan. I think that was Commander Reid Weisman responding to prepare for some of the next steps. We are now holding at the T-minus 10-minute hold. Expected a 30-minute hold. So we are well on the countdown. We are well on the timeline to meet this L- time and launch towards the beginning of the window, but continuing to track progress along the way. Again, I'm here with the Artemis II flight control teams in Mission Control Houston. The team in the room behind me has been monitoring the countdown and verifying their own mission-specific launch criteria of the Space Launch System, the Orion spacecraft integrity, and its crew. During the final poll before launch, if all looks good from each of the flight controllers in this room, Flight Director Judd Freeling will report a go for launch from Houston Flight. Upon liftoff, teams here take control of the mission and communicate with the crew while they fly on the Space Launch System. This phase of flight is highly dynamic, and each console position has a dedicated and important role of looking after critical systems. You'll hear calls from Capcom and NASA astronaut Stan Love in this room to the Artemis II crew as milestones are reached during the more than 8 minutes of powered flight on the core stage. Liftoff and ascent are just the beginning. This room will be staffed around the clock over the next 10 days to oversee every moment of the mission through splashdown. Here from the Johnson Space Center, we'll be streaming the mission live 24/7 so anyone can follow the crew's journey, take peeks inside the spacecraft, and share the experience of a lunar flyby with astronauts looking down at the moon's surface. Teams here have been rehearsing tirelessly in simulations to throw every conceivable and inconceivable scenario their way. We are ready and eager to begin the Artemis II mission. Still milestones to come as we continue the countdown, but we'll be right back with you during the ascent phase of today's flight. With that, Megan, I will send it back over to you at the Space Coast.
Thanks so much, Gary. Under 37 minutes until the opening of our 2-hour launch window, 6:24 p.m. Eastern. I've never been more excited for a time. But why don't we send it back over to Megan Carter with the Moon Board to learn more about what happens after ascent.
Absolutely. I am definitely also getting excited. Things feel like they're starting to pick up a little pace here. A lot is about to happen within the first 10 minutes of launch, but what happens after those first 10 minutes? Let me take you over here to my mission map so we can kind of jump ahead and let me explain a few things. So our main engine cutoff is going to stand for MECO, and that is essentially where the rocket's job is done, and it is then going to turn the propulsion duties over to our ICPS. That stands for Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage. Don't try and say that too many times fast, but the ICPS is going to be right here, and that's our in-space propulsion. About 50 minutes into, after about 50 minutes into launch, it is going to conduct that first burn, and that's going to be the perigee raise maneuver. Essentially what that is going to do is going to raise the spacecraft from a lowest point of Earth just a little bit higher into space, and then they are going to conduct that nice path that's going to set them on that nice circular path around the Earth. That's when they're going to start to be able to really check out the spacecraft. The Orion spacecraft is going to be able to, like we've talked about, be maneuvered by the crew. They're going to check out those life support systems, and communication checkout's going to be vital at that point as well, obviously. Then they will be conducting that another burn, and that's going to raise them just a little bit higher again, and then they will it'll be about time for the ICPS to separate, and they will start another lap around the Earth as well. Now the ICPS, but even after it separates, its job will not be done, because they will have the opportunity to conduct something called the proximity operations demonstration, and this is going to be really important for our future lunar missions, because the ICPS actually has a target on it, and the crew is going to have the opportunity to manually maneuver these spacecraft like we've mentioned and practice those docking maneuvers. Now obviously they will not be docking for this mission, but that is again going to be critical for those lunar missions in the future. Now, all right, after that ICPS has separated and they've done that second lap, they're going to conduct 2 more burns. And what these burns are going to do is set them up to the high enough orbit and a fast enough speed in order to conduct the translunar injection. This is going to be that critical moment and that critical milestone where they are going to produce about 6,000 pounds of thrust. And this is that point that is going to take them out of low Earth orbit into deep space, and it's going to set them on that nice path towards that lunar flyby. And I know we have talked a little bit about why this could be a record-breaking flyby and journey to the moon. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Megan so she can tell us just why.
Yeah, she's talking about the distance record set by the Apollo 13 astronauts in 1970. They were 248,655 miles away from Earth, and this Artemis II crew might surpass that on flight day 6 when they fly around the moon by more than 4,000 miles.
Yeah, it's a long ways. It's tough to fathom 250,000 miles from Earth, right? I mean, space, the space station is only 250 miles, and so we're going, I don't want to do the public math, but we're going much further than that. But it's important, right? Because we want to get back to the moon. We want to see the surface. We want to see the far side of the moon. And the way we do that is by breaking distance records.
Yeah, and the exact distance record depends on exactly when they launch, like the time, the day. So we'll learn more as we go into this 10-day mission with the Artemis II crew. But here we are, 32 minutes, 50 seconds and counting from the opening of our launch window. Feels really, really surreal here as more and more people come to gather on the press site lawn here at Kennedy Space Center. Why don't we take a look at this video that we have here? Some familiar faces who wanted to wish our Artemis II crew a safe journey.
Reid, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy, you are the real deal. You're flying to the moon for all of us, and we are in awe. You're the true heroes.
You are not just astronauts. You are pioneers, venturing deeper into the unknown. But you are not alone. We will be all cheering you on from planet Earth.
Hey, I'm Victor Wembanyama, and I play basketball in the NBA. But I'm not only interested in shooting hoops. I'm also interested in shooting stars, dark matter, and all other types of astronomical phenomenon. And to the Artemis II astronauts who are shooting for the moon, I wish them good luck and Godspeed.
Hi everybody, I'm Ryan Gosling, and I play a biologist who goes to space to save the planet in the film Project Hail Mary. But the Artemis II astronauts are going to space for real, and they will travel farther from Earth than any humans in history. Sending all our best wishes to the Artemis II crew.
I just want to say how proud I am of each of you and how inspired you make me. But it's not just about me. Your mission is going to inspire future generations of scientists, engineers, athletes, and dreamers to do something that they never thought possible.
Hey, it's Roy Wood Jr., and I want to wish the Artemis II crew a happy and safe journey to the moon, well, around the moon. To go around, I know what you're doing. You got to look for a parking space. This is to go around the moon, make sure somewhere to park, and then you park journey. Good luck.
It's actually a really good way to explain what how this mission builds. Again, we are hoping to land astronauts on the surface of the moon in maybe 2 years. So yes, we are looking around the moon on this lunar flyby mission to see where we might park. Thank you, Roy Wood Jr. Okay, and as we look at this live view of the rocket on the pad, there is a spectacular place here at Kennedy Space Center to watch launch from, and that's the Banana Creek viewing area. Why don't we go back there where the crowd is excited, and Leah has the best assignment ever, talking to people who are super excited about being here for Artemis II.
Oh my gosh, Megan, you talk about the excitement being palpable. I'm telling you, everybody here on pins and needles as we get just about half an hour away from launch. I've been walking around talking to people, and I'm just struck again and again by how many people are here from across the agency. I want to introduce you to just a small portion of the people across NASA who have been supporting this mission.
Patty Ortiz, NASA Armstrong Flight Research Center, Orion program.
Orion.
Kathy Graves, Glenn Research Center, Office of STEM Engagement.
Here we go.
David Alexander, NASA Glenn Research Center, Office of STEM Engagement.
Jennifer Becerra, Johnson Space Center, the Office of STEM Engagement.
Here we go. Right back here. Where are you from?
I'm from NASA Glenn Research Center, Joseph Pinakitis.
Joseph, here we go.
Wes Furman from APL.
Maria Arredondo from Headquarters, Next Gen STEM.
Mark Robinson, Stennis Space Center, Commercial Space.
Amira Flores, Armstrong, Office of the STEM Engagement.
Molly Kearns, NASA Glenn, Space Communications and Navigation.
Matthew Pierce, Goddard Institute for Space Studies in New York City.
Here we go, and right over here.
Lauren Ring, Ames Research Center, Data Integration.
So we're coming together. We're one big NASA team, one big NASA family, and we have one major message before we launch tonight. Okay, guys, what are we going to say? 1, 2, 3. Go Army!
Oh my gosh, that made me so emotional. That was so inspiring to see. I mean, wow, yeah, that was great. I mean, just to hear everybody say their position, what they're doing to support this mission is amazing. And I'm sure this was something that really rang true and resonated with NASA's Administrator Jared Isaacman, again, to see the workforce come together to do the work and then to be here for launch. So why don't we actually go over to him now with our Jasmine Hopkins at one of our other viewing locations.
All right, Megan, thank you so much. The energy here on the balcony is honestly becoming electric as we get so close to launch. And now we are thrilled to welcome NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. Jared, we're really entering a golden age of exploration. How will Artemis II set the pace for the coming years?
Well, I mean, Artemis II is the opening act, right? This is the test mission. This is getting very comfortable with the SLS rocket, the Orion spacecraft. No humans have ever flown on this before, right? And we're going to put it through its paces. We'll go into Earth orbit for a little bit, make sure Orion's doing okay, and then we are sending them, right? We're going to send them farther into space than any humans might have gone before, 250,000 miles away, and it's going to set up for the subsequent missions. That's why we're going into the golden age of science and discovery right now, because you're going to see a moon rocket launch in 2027 when we do our testing with the lander. We're going to go for the landing on Artemis IV in 2028, and in parallel, we're going to build the moon base, right? And that is going to be filled with science discovery and tech demonstrations that's going to support the enduring presence we're trying to create on the surface.
Absolutely. So honestly, history-making years ahead of us, you know, with Artemis 3 and 4. But first is Artemis 2. What will be our single greatest takeaway from this mission?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, after ignition, to me, the moment that I'm going to be most excited for is splashdown. There's no question about that. Good shoots coming down off the West Coast. But look, I think the takeaway from this is gaining extreme comfort in the Orion spacecraft, right? I mean, this is very different than what we've done for more than a half century, right? I mean, the velocities that spacecraft is going to re-enter at, it's going to be new territory for us. We want to get our arms around that completely. So I would say the performance of SLS plus Orion is everything on this one. We want to make sure we do it in as a safe way as we possibly can, understanding what we are undertaking right here, bring our crew back, learn as much we can from the vehicle, set up for Artemis III in 2027.
Right. And Administrator, we've actually had a pretty young audience today here, some kids running around the balcony. How do you hope Artemis II inspires that next generation?
I talk about this all the time. One of our overarching KPIs that we should always be tracking is the number of people living and working in space. Well, what's another strong number 2 on that one? It's the number of kids that are dressing up as astronauts for Halloween, so that they grow up, that they're inspired to want to join in this grand endeavor, whether they come work with us here at NASA or they join in industry, but they're helping humankind venture out farther, pursue all the secrets of the universe.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of kids dressed as astronauts this year. And finally, Jared, you've really made it a personal mission to get to know the people behind the work at NASA. Do you have any final thoughts, any final words before today's history-making launch?
Yeah, well, one, I want to express a lot of appreciation. I'll tell you what, the 4 astronauts on top of Artemis II know this. It takes an army to pull a mission together like this, right? Across all 10 of our centers, all of our commercial partners, the international partners that come together to make this possible. My sincere appreciation for everyone who is currently working the mission right now, so getting them ready for launch, that will be watching over them in mission control, recovering this crew when they splash down off the West Coast. I have complete trust and confidence in your abilities, and everybody else who's not directly working on Artemis II. Artemis III is coming up next year. When this mobile launcher gets back in the VAB, we're going to start stacking.
Wow, plenty of excitement ahead of us. Jared Isaacman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Of course. All right. And with that, let's get back to the countdown with NASA's Megan Cruz.
Under 25 minutes and counting from the opening of our 2-hour launch window. And take a look at all these people behind us. I literally, every moment I turn around and I see the clock, I am like, oh, wow. Oh, wow.
There are more people and less time.
Yes, exactly, which is a great problem to have.
Yes.
Now, this first crewed test flight of NASA's Artemis program coincides with the 250th anniversary of our country's founders signing the Declaration of Independence. Exploration is a part of America's DNA, and it continues now with our return to the moon.
250 years ago, 13 colonies laid the foundation for the greatest and most enduring democracy in the history of the world. One driven by courage, faith, and freedom. From that moment, we became a nation defined not by where we stood, but by how far we were willing to go. We conquered vast frontiers, invented tools that shaped a modern world. We found light in the dark, and we rose from the earth. Faster, higher, farther. We pushed beyond the sky and into the unknown. We carried our courage into the cosmos, and we planted the American flag on the moon, the defining achievement of American superiority in space. Today, our curiosity stretches farther than ever. American robots search ancient rivers on Mars. New telescopes unfold to glimpse the first stars. And a new generation prepares to return to the moon, this time to stay. For 250 years, America has carried the light of humanity forward. But American exceptionalism isn't inherited, it's earned. Our greatness comes not only from what we've done, but what we're still determined to discover. Because in every era, across every horizon, America is at its best when it's reaching for something greater. America celebrates 250 years, and we are leading the world into the future.
22 minutes, 15 seconds and counting from Artemis II, NASA's boldest test flight in a generation. The crew has said this often, that they hope it inspires children around the world. And recently, a group of kids here at Kennedy Space Center got a surprise of a lifetime while watching that rocket roll to the launch pad.
So tell me what color it is.
We're you see it? Okay, so everybody's looking at the rocket because it is kind of cool and impressive. One of the coolest things happening over there right now, though, is it's on top of a giant tractor.
Doesn't all food come in like tubes? It's in these like little plastic bags. You have to like rehydrate it. Sushi. There's not. I haven't seen sushi in space. It's probably hard to keep that back. Sushi mashed together.
My favorite part was this one little girl. She had a question. She had patiently held her hand for a long time, and Cristine turns to her and says, "Okay, what's your question?" She just goes, "I forgot." It was like, that's a perfect little kid moment. I just love.
Wait, are you my mother's cats too, astronauts?
What? Say that again?
Never mind. It's a little hard to say. Go Artemis!
These two? Yeah. You can put it on. Yeah.
There you go. I like your dabbing astronaut back there. It's just so fun to see the enthusiasm, the energy, and a little bit of chaos.
3, 2, 1.
Wasn't that so cute?
I love kids and their excitement and, you know, even just being real. Like, I don't remember what I was
I know,
gonna
he
ask.
goes, but I'm glad you're here. Now here we are, Space Center Houston. The crowd has exponentially grown throughout the day. We started showing you live shots from in there probably an hour ago, and now take a look at all the people there getting ready to witness history together. It's something really special to be able to witness something like this together.
Yeah, you know, we've heard from celebrities and officials and kids, and, you know, it's amazing. People from all around the world came here today to Florida to watch, so it's something, it's hard to put into words, just how much support for this mission we're seeing today.
And great news, too. Remember, the team was tracking an issue with the launch abort system battery. They appear to have cleared that issue, so we are go for launch.
Yes, it's exciting.
U.S. Space and Rocket Center here, Huntsville, Alabama, waving to the Artemis II crew sitting right there inside Orion. Inside of 20 minutes from the opening of our launch window, and right now we are targeting the top of that launch window, so we could be launching here in about 19 minutes, Nicole.
Wow, I don't know if I expected this today. I'm excited, and, you know, I'm glad they were able to clear the problem with the battery on the LAS, and everything has gone really smoothly today. It's been great. The weather cleared up. It's a beautiful day for a launch.
And so now, as we are so close to possibly launch now, just what are your final thoughts as we are about to embark on a mission back to the moon, the first time in more than 50 years?
Yeah, you know, just so proud of the crew and all of the teams here on the ground that made this happen. You know, they are carrying the torch from the Apollo era into the Artemis era. And, you know, as the crew likes to say, they want to be the shoulders that the next generation.
And let's see, GLS, can you help us with that, please?
They want to be the crew wants to be the shoulders that the next generation can climb on.
001.
You know, I think it's in their patch. We're going for all. It's in the name of their capsule, integrity, representing humility and the professionalism of everyone that got them there today. So proud of them. We love them. We're excited for them, and we cannot wait to see what they see.
Just leveraging everything we've learned so far as an agency, taking us from Apollo now to the launch pad here, 39B, with Orion and SLS poised to again fly us into the history books. And before we leave you now here at the host desk to get back into operations, we just wanted to answer one question for you guys. We asked you earlier on today, what are you most excited for? And we asked you to go vote on Instagram and Twitch. Instagram, you guys said launch. Twitch, you guys said lunar flyby. So I think you guys will all be very excited since we are now about 17 minutes from the opening of our launch window today. And so with that, as we approach terminal count, let's send it back to Daryl Nail in firing room 1. Daryl.
All right, thank you, Megan and Nicole, and just want to give you an update on the launch abort system that you just reported that they cleared. They believe, they're convinced, this is an instrumentation failure. So there are 2 batteries on the LAS. The LAS, of course, and with the help of my 2-year-old son's model rocket, Daniel said I could use this, so it's okay. The LAS is right here. It's the tower above Orion. Orion capsules inside of here. It's used to pull Orion off the rocket in case something's going on with the rocket, either on the pad or in flight. 2 batteries are bad. Well, I'm sorry, one of the 2 batteries reported an out-of-family temperature, and it was very much out of family. And so they checked their data going back into the vehicle assembly building where they recharged the batteries and worked on them. And they have good, solid data, they reported, that tells them that this is an instrumentation failure, that there's something wrong with the sensor. And so they took it before the mission management team, which has to accept the risk, any changes to launch commit criteria, which this would be one, and they all fully accepted it. So now we are clear as far as that constraint is concerned. And one quick thing as we count down now, we are getting into the final minutes before liftoff. There's a 2-hour window. We haven't quite set the T0 yet, but this is a list of the cutouts. There are 150 cutouts that are included for this 2-hour launch window, and that's important. They're in very small print. That's important because there's basically 16 minutes inside this window that they cannot launch. And these are because of small things flying in orbit. There's a lot more things in orbit than there were back in Artemis I when we had 35 to 40 cutouts. For that reason, because of these 156 cutouts, they're going to be managing the launch window as we go forward. So they may have to wait out one of these cutouts. They range in time between 2 seconds to 23 seconds, but you'll hear the NASA test director talk through that. We're getting ready to merge that loop from NASA test director Jeff Spaulding. And so now I'm listening to the launch team get ready to merge. There will be 2 polls that we'll hear. One from Spaulding, the NASA test director, confirming the ground systems and the launch team are ready to proceed. At this point, we have a clear board, no constraints, but we need confirmation from each individual on the NASA test director team. So we'll hear him poll his team. The other poll that we're waiting for is the poll from Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson, who will take that final status from NASA management before giving the go to come out of a hold. And you're seeing the clock count down at L-12 minutes.
CCL, OTC, Orion, RS1.
CCL.
Yes, sir. Reconfigure ARS primary loop ISO valves.
Copy, that's in work.
And CDR, OTC, Orion, RS1.
Go.
ARS loop ISO valves are being closed at this time.
Integrity copies.
NGDLP.
Go.
Yes, I had a discussion with Sea Ice and with MER Manager regarding the observation the Sea Ice had a few minutes ago. They were able to confirm with BCI photos that the condition that they observed has been there since 2025. MER Manager has had a chance to review the findings, and they do not have any constraints from either a Sea Ice or MER Manager perspective.
Okay. Copy all. And Launch Director, NTD, you copy?
Yes, sir. I copy. That's good news.
OTC, CCL 212.
OTC.
ARS primary loop isolation valve configurations complete.
Copy.
And CGLS NTD, cancel pending, please.
GLS copies, and that's complete.
All right, and for all personnel, we got a little bit more work to do before we pick up the clock, and we're about a little over a minute from getting to T-minus 10 minutes, but we've canceled the resume time there, and then we'll pick it up after we get through all of our work and anything else that we need to do to get through the remainder of count. So we'll continue working that to get to our T0 today. So when we get to about 50 seconds from now, we'll extend that hold. CVSE OTC.
CVSE 400-290, looking to verify that we are configured for ascent.
Yep, give me about 2 more minutes. I'm going to start CMA2 streaming.
Copy.
NTD COSE, hold requested.
Copy that.
I have an LCC violation of O-CT-004, S-band transponder anomaly. This was a transient LCC violation, so transponder 1 had a demodulated SNR estimate that went down to 2 dBm when it should have been between 10 and 13. It is now back up to 12, but we did lose that for just a moment. It does not appear that we lost our bit sync or carrier lock, which would be indicative that we lost our lock with the vehicle. So at this point, recommendation would still be go. However, we do have a pre-planned contingency procedure if we want to look at that. But again, this is transient, so we're back in a nominal range.
All right, let's see, LPE NTD.
Yeah, we're not seeing that hit, so I guess the question for COSE, was that less than 3 samples? Is that below our persistence?
Stand by, let me look. It did look like it did persist for several seconds on mine, but let me take a look at the number of samples.
Could I get a repeat on the affected LCC, please?
Yes, ma'am. That's going to be O-CT-004.
Thank you.
Yeah, us taking a look at the data right here, looks like that was a single sample.
Yeah, copy that. RFTS does report that they also lost lock for about 5 seconds. So I would love to ask KUS and see if they also lost lock with the vehicle for any extended amount of period.
And COSE, while we're doing that, these are 1/10 hertz measurements, correct? So we would have had to lose it for over 10 seconds to get a second sample?
Yes, sir, that's correct. It is 1/10 hertz.
Yeah, so from our perspective, the allowance is effectively up to 30 seconds, up to 3 samples based on the 1/10 hertz. This is not an LCC violation, I believe.
Yes, sir, I would agree with that at this point. Copy that.
We're checking with KUS on 232. I don't think they have 212 access. We're trying to verify, but it sounds like they have a loss of lock as well. About 2 seconds.
Okay. And I guess for both KUS and COSE, do we have lock now?
That's affirmed. We do have lock for COSE.
Yeah, so from the integration console perspective, we did have a temporary loss there within the allowable, and per the requirement, let's go.
And this is Houston Flight. We have lock and we have good telemetry here in GSE.
And KUS is reported to they have good lock now. So with all of that, OSC, then are we in a go configuration per your LCC?
Yes, sir. Recommendation would be go.
Right. LP, you concur with that?
Yes, sir. LP concurs go.
And launch director.